Hi guys, so it's been a while since I have done a video, but as you can see by the title, today we are going to talk about head tilts or inner ear infections, which can cause head tilts. So if you follow me on my social media, I'll have briefly mentioned this already, that one of the does that I kept called Mango, she developed a head tilt just about the 8-week mark. Not that the age of Shaz has anything to do with it. This can happen at any stage of a rat's life. This is not something that I would commonly see in kittens before. So basically, the head, as it sounds, slightly tilts to the side. It can obviously start affecting their coordination and their balance because the head is tilted. In extreme cases, they'll kind of barrel roll. Even in the minor cases, you can still see them tilting, they'll roll slightly. If they're playing with a sibling, they'll probably be very easily knocked over. They can still climb. You will find that sometimes though, I think going up's easier. When they're coming down things, you may find they kind of stumble and end up rolling off of things. I've not adapted the cage layout for her, but she's not in a very tall cage at the moment, and there's nothing particularly high that she can fall off to hurt herself, and there's a big deep layer of substrate for her. But that is something to consider if you're dealing with this. You may want to opt for like a hospital cage or a one-level cage, depending how bad the head tilt is and how bad the rat is with it. So she developed this at about 8 weeks old. It's just one of those things. It can mean that, there was a little infection going around, something happened in the colony, but, only she was affected because she had a lower immune system than the rest, or just the other option is she just got unlucky. It's like a person getting sick, you know what I mean? You're just the unlucky one that happened to get it. So I will be putting in some footage of her kind of like moving around and stuff, and you can see she can still get around the cage, she can still get around the free roam. But there is a minimal bit of tumbling and things like that with her. So what you want to do is you want to treat this as soon as possible. Like as soon as you see it, you want to treat it. The quicker you start treating it, the more likely it is that you'll be able to rectify the head tilt and get rid of it completely. So what was recommended to go on is steroids and Baytril. Now I know some people will be thinking, oh, you shouldn't give Baytril to under 14 weeks of age, and that is something that is said, but you've also got to balance out the good with the bad. So when the need is there and it's more important than what the possible bad side effects are, you've got to go with the greater good. And in this case, she needed the treatment, and Baytril's said to basically to affect the growth in animals, which is why you shouldn't give it under 14 weeks of age. But when it comes down to it, I would rather give her the meds to try and fix her than worry about her being particularly small. That is a tiny concern of mine compared to let's get her fixed so she doesn't have this head tilt anymore. So we started her on steroids and Baytril. We were doing steroids for 1 week, and as of yesterday, that was 1 week that she'd been on steroids and Baytril, and I'm now carrying on with the Baytril for a further week, so that'll be a total of 2 weeks that she'll be on medication. And if you did see my post on social media recently, she does currently still have a head tilt after 1 week of medication. This is not to say that it's going to be permanent. There is still time that she can recover from this and straighten herself back up. So basically we'll do 1 more week of medication for her, and then after that the medication stops. So what's the outcomes at this point? After 2 weeks of medication, the outcome is pretty simple. She's either back to normal and her head has straightened itself out, or she still has the head tilt. And it's not actually a major problem, a rat having a head tilt. They can actually survive with one, and they adapt, and as I spoke about earlier, they can actually still manage around the cage. They can still do an active layout, they can still interact with other rats, they can still be a rat and live a very, very good life. you just might want to take some small considerations into the setup to ensure that they are safe. So for example, if she keeps the head tilt and I get to the stage of putting her in a large open cage, you know, like one of my Explorers or Aventuras, you know, the really tall cages that could potentially have a very high drop for her, I would need to consider a bit more fall breakers, just on the off chance that, you know, she fell from the top down. So that's something to consider. But it is not a death sentence to them. You know, they can survive with a head tilt, they can live with a head tilt. So yeah, I think I wouldn't say it's an overly common issue with rats. It does happen. I would say things like tumours are more common than seeing like your inner ear infections. But the main points to remember are attack it quickly. So as soon as you notice that head tilt, get on the steroids and the Bactral medication. A week of steroids, 2 weeks of Bactral. And basically you want to attack it aggressively as you can so that you can try and fix it. So I probably won't do another like update video in terms of talking about how Mango is. That'll go up onto my social media. So if you want to like follow her progress and see if she does fully recover from the inner ear infection, you'll probably get a post in about a week's time saying how she is. But I mean, she's here to stay. She'll be on my channel anyway. You'll see her at some point. I am waiting to do intros with her, but with her having the ear infection, I want to give her the 2 weeks medication first before I put her through introductions. So I hope that's been a little bit helpful to you guys. If anyone else is dealing with a rat that has the head tilt / inner ear infection. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in whatever my next video is.